Now, Curly, the first. Go ahead, kid. Go ahead, kid.
Okay, so one.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, and go.
Welcome to Style of Boogie, Kid Terrific, Rockwell Association back in 1977. Incredible Breakers and Hidden Faces.
What's up, y'all? It's Lorenzo Dom, TMF, Law of Unlimited, of course, Hidden Faces. And you're here at the show where the stories and the true stories will be told. Today,
always be
today we have one of my dear friends. I met her in 1979. We were about 2 years old.
And I met her in 2020.
So 1979, we'll go through that soon. Her name is Elizabeth. I know her as Curly, but in the musical world today, she's known as DJ Dat Gurl. And this is her right here.
What's up, Dat Gurl? Thank you for coming down.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Thank you.
So, here we are. Miss Ruiz.
Yeah.
I'm going to start it because you forgot the way we met.
Yeah.
We met in 1979. It was 79-80, the transition. I was in high school. I had just gone to a new school, Eastern District High School. And across the street, or a block or two away, was a place called 104 in Lynch, which these guys by the name of Perry, he's known in the dance community, his brother Peebles, Chase, these were the guys that I learned everything or anything that had to do with music and dance from these individuals. They went to these places called the Loft, the Garage, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but they, at the same time, we also, all the kids that cut class used to go to these things called hooky parties. So, and only the people,
been to a hooky party.
yeah, the only people that ever found out about these parties were either the bad kids or the people that hung out with the bad kids. And not that we were bad in general, just bad not going to school sometimes. So there was a party in Brooklyn by Cypress, Brooklyn, borderline Queens, and I remember, you don't remember. I think it was the first floor, because I remember going into the basement and it was upstairs. So this is when I first started dancing what we call loft style. Some of us, not everyone calls it loft style. I went in, me and my boys were killing it, throwing dives. Here comes little Curly. I didn't know at the time she was like 13 years old. So I had no idea what the fuck she was doing there. But she gets in the middle of the floor, starts emulating what we were doing. Or maybe we were emulating what you were doing. But we got in, and so long story short, it was the first time, that was the first time that I met a girl that did exactly what we were doing. Because at the sets and at 104 in Lynch, all the girls used to hang, that hung out there, they could dance, but they weren't floor killers like she was. She actually did the backbreaker, the walk over, the dives, the slides, just like the men. So that's how I originally got introduced to you, and I went up to you, but you really don't remember.
Hold up, she was 13?
She was 13.
And you were 14?
No, I was 15.
15?
Like 15
And he's wondering why a 13-year-old, I'm just, whatever. All right.
Well, dude, we were,
I mean, everything is like not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
I mean, even at 13 years old, I mean, I was surprised to even be.
Yeah, but remember, at 16 and 13, even it makes a difference when you're in school hanging out.
Yeah,
she wasn't even in high school.
Yeah.
I had just gone into high school, and I already got left back once before, so I was already delayed. But my point, anyway, is that I want to see and get some recollection on, if you recall, your first experience with dance or music. How do you remember it? How do you, interpret it now? If you can think back, that far.
With growing up, just like probably most of the kids that we hung out back then, we all had trials and tribulations that put us in certain environments. So with that being said, my outreach was the streets. So, growing up, I needed to find a different universe, and I found it with several people in the streets where, you know, as I think about it now, I mean, I think it was like one of the best times of my life, to be honest, because it was an open space for me to do whatever I wanted to do without any worries of the trials and tribulations that I had to do.
So you were a loft dancer, or
No.
I was a street dancer.
we were just freestyle.
I was one of
It
those
was
type of
freestyle.
kids that, if I went to, I just absorbed like your nephew, your brother. I mean, martial arts. I was into like Bruce Lee. I was into. If it wasn't for a guy named Crazy Legs.
Bro, wait, that's another story.
Well, yeah, well,
he's talking about the
no, but I'm
ball,
trying to,
what he did with the
I'm
ball.
trying to,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
trying to justify why my dancing became the way it did, because one, I was, I liked gymnastics, I liked
Same here.
anything that had to do with acrobats and
Yep.
the circus,
Yep.
and so with a combination of all of that
computers.
and being in the streets, I was always one of those type of people that my arms and my feet were just.
But do you
wandering away.
remember who was the first people you saw dancing that influenced you, or was it
Oh,
TV?
actually, no, yeah, I do. Chino 3.
Chino
and
3, yeah.
Jusan, Son. I mean, that's his real name.
Yeah.
But
Chino 3.
and George, they call him Son.
They're from the Lower East Side.
They're from the Lower East Side, and in the interim of being introduced to the garage by Crazy Legs from Staten Island, he was a martial arts, and he
Not Crazy Legs.
no, not from
okay.
Rocksteady. No, that came along. That came a ways after.
Right.
But my true experience of the world of a club, besides going to others, was the garage. Because when you're going into the garage, it was.
Did you go a lot, or did you just went? Like,
No, I went several times, but it was. Several times was more than what other people were able
I
to
think
do.
I've been to the garage maybe twice with store, and that's about it.
But let me ask you, what age do you think you went to the garage?
I might have been like, I didn't even have my son yet. So, had my son at 16, yeah, talking about 14, 15 years old.
You went to the garage at 14?
15 years old. Wow. So, and it was an.
But were you already dancing when you were
I was already street dancing.
dancing.
I was street dancing.
Howdy, I bet.
So,
You go in that
actually, you
mother
know
like
what?
that.
To be honest, and Lorenzo could tell you, I was the tomboy of life.
Really, you a tomboy?
I was,
When I
you
met
know
her, she had
what?
overalls.
I had overalls. I used to have short
A
hair.
bandana around her hair.
I used to have a mohawk. The whole.
You know, she was dressed like one of the guys.
You know, yeah, literally.
Awesome.
Like you
Okay.
could, you really.
Yeah, but you were cute. You were really cute.
Well,
I mean,
thank
now
you so much,
it's different. But you were cute.
Now you're sexy.
Thank you. But anyway, you know, I've always maintained a tomboyish way because of the streets. The streets was challenging, and you had to be a certain way or hang out with certain people because you just couldn't be in any place. I was a universal person, so I can go into any neighborhood and meet somebody and have a good time and not worry about any outcomes because of the neighborhood you lived in. And however, I was very an observing individual, so I was always entertained
Like
by
observing, like
Hip to the
the
streets.
dance,
Hip
right,
to
the streets, the certain guidelines of the streets. You know, I mean,
Now you knew what neighborhood not to go into, what neighborhood.
yeah, my
Yeah, but as
body.
a girl, they got away with more than the guys.
Yeah,
going into
that
neighborhoods.
is true. That
Especially
is
if you
true.
can dance. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, and I was always into like, literally, like I take this chair and do a handstand and just be doing
Yeah,
crazy
awesome.
stuff. You know,
He's
but
salsera? No, he wasn't salsera.
you know what? I've tried. Like I was explaining, like I used to be a B girl in the street.
Oh,
that was one of
awesome.
the forms of.
So you were a B girl.
Yeah, I was into hip hop and graffiti but then it wasn't my realm.
Okay.
You
As we
understand?
were
Everybody
all.
has a realm. But the experience was amazing because that's where it all started, where the flexibility of going hip hop, you know, bouncing up and down, but then meeting Jusan and Chino and going to the garage where their style was much more expressing because that's what we were doing.
Lofting, you mean like lofting?
Well, I wouldn't call it lofting back then for me because I was
Nobody
expressing
did.
my abilities of
What
all
the
the
music
multiple
was-
stuff.
right, and what the music was letting you
take
do.
Me.
Yep.
Like I would know, I would not know a name of a song, but if you put the beat on, I knew what beat was coming in, what was coming out, when to jump up, when to jump down. But now as a DJ, I'm like, oh shit,
still
that's
don't
the
know the
name of that
names.
record.
That's why
I'm
I DJ Rob
I
Solo.
dance to that shit all the time. But that experience as a child, because that's what I was, a child.
But listen, you're in our little community. You're also known as a loft killer, a loft dancer, right? So ironically, though, like me, I was a guest at the loft. I was not a member, and this is where it all goes down.
The same for me.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Same with you. You know, I'd always known as a loft killer. Meanwhile, she wasn't a member of the loft. And she didn't, you only went, did you ever go?
What, to the loft?
To
I
the
only
loft?
went once or twice in
You
my
see
life.
that? So that was my point. That's why I want the Tony here
Because
today.
the people that brought me into the loft, I met at the garage.
That's how it happened with me.
Because there was a day you would go to the garage on a Friday, go to the loft on a Saturday.
So I keep hearing, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
So I keep hearing that, you need membership to get into the
Right, the garage and the
Now,
loft for
I
members.
didn't know how I got in, to be honest, because I was hanging out.
You went with
many
somebody
crowds,
that
Right,
already
I
had
hang out
membership.
with many crowds, and a lot of them were in the entertainment business. Right, a lot of them were actually punk rockers, and they brought me into these places. Do you have a name? Like, who brought you in? Like,
Legs, Crazy Legs.
crazy, the dude from Staten
From
Island.
Staten Island. He was the one who saw me dancing in Staten Island at the pool. And we were hanging out, and he was like, you know what? There's this club I want to take you because it seems like you would love it. You know, you just have this free way about yourself. So I'm like, I'm always in the streets anyway, so I don't care.
How'd you end up in a pool in Staten Island dancing?
Well, because they had.
You're
we
from
had
the Lower East Side.
no, but we had a boombox, a little boombox, and
No, but how did you go to Staten Island? What were you doing
took
in
the
Staten
ferry
Island?
because we knew I lived in the Lower East Side. You take the ferry to the
Right, but you
pool.
knew people in Staten Island? Like, for example,
No, we all
growing
knew
up,
that there was a pool in Staten Island.
that's so weird.
Tompkinsville.
That's so weird.
It was
'cause
like the nearest
Staten
pool.
Island to me was like, you might as well say in Ohio back in the day.
Oh no!
Nothing came out of
To
Staten
me,
Island.
it was a local thing because we lived
That's
right there
crazy.
on the FTR
Pool
Drive.
hop?
Pool hop?
Yeah.
No.
Because I used to pool hop. I used to go
No, believe it or not,
from
I
the
would
South
go
Bronx
to
to
pools
Harlem
outside of my
or to
neighborhood.
Queens to go to the pool.
Anyway, let's get back to dancing. Now he's
But
going,
that's
he's
where it
going
was.
out.
I'm
Started
sorry,
for
I
me.
can't help it. Pool hopping.
Pool hopping,
It was an error.
But that's where I
But, you know,
that's
he's-
where I
if
was
you look at his
noticed.
knees, that's why he doesn't pool hop. But
I was noticed in a pool as a dancer.
That's
you
very
know, just as a
So he met you at that pool.
because he was from the neighborhood.
Ah.
So he happened to be there, and it used to be Tompkinsville pool. So everybody used to be in their little cliques because you had martial artists that used to be there, which Crazy Legs was, and I was always into like I said, gymnastics. I was fascinated with swimming. So when we got to the pool and everything, the music started. He was like, I gotta take you to this club. So when he took me to the club, I would never forget it because it was an experience going up the ramp.
Especially the garage, that sound system.
There's a system,
The Larry system.
I mean, if you can see that, if I have any hairs, but you can see this, and you know,
No, I see it, look.
yeah. And then the record is like, is it all over my face?
Oh, that's
I
another
would
one,
never forget that shit. I'm like,
It's dancing.
and then you go into the club, and then I had to go to the bathroom. Then it turned up to be a unisex bathroom. But I was actually
and
scared.
that was kind of strange back then.
No, I
That's
was
70s.
scared. I remember
Yeah,
sitting
that's one
on
of the first
floor
places where guys and girls use the bathroom.
because it's dark, so you're not really seeing anybody. But I was like this, like there's guys and girls, there's guys and guys, there's girls and girls.
And you were
know, you're in
15.
an environment like.
And you were 15.
But to me, it was like, oh man, everybody's in their free world. Like they can be whoever they want.
The garage
And that was
like
the
that.
environment that I just fell in love with. But it wasn't something that I did on a regular because I was wandering into the ones. I was wandering into Bond.
Gotham's.
I got the West,
Gotham's
Fresh
West.
14.
That's where we used to dance.
I
at
mean,
Gotham's West.
those were the clubs where I was out and about on the floor.
21 Hudson. Remember 21 Hudson?
So did you represent the crew, dance crew?
No, I mean, you know, it's funny. I was in a dance crew. I even forgot the name of it, but we we auditioned for Beach Street, and it was one of those crazy. Her name was Cindy Ortiz. Maybe she'll see this video because every now and then she sends me a card. But we were in this female group and stuff, and that's when more of the B style and hip hop was for me. But then I realmed off into the lofty, more expressing myself, sliding on the floor. I'd rather do that than to hurt my knee and try to do a head spin.
Yeah.
But I can do all of that. I was into.
Is Crazy Legs also the one that introduced you to the loft? The one or twice?
You know what?
Maybe Chino?
I honestly would have to say, damn, I really don't remember who brought me there, to be honest. And it's funny because just like you say, Louis, he was like, I never seen you at the loft.
Louis Key? Yeah.
Or the garage. And I'm like, well, I was there. I know I was there. Until a picture came up with me, Archie, Cindy Harden at the Greasy Spoon. And we used to go there.
The Greasy Spoon is a club?
Actually a restaurant.
But
or
they
a deli,
turned into
but it turned into
an
like
after hour, like
an
a-
after hour
Yeah.
where everybody went to go eat and you were still dancing while everybody was eating. Right after. We were coming out like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was still like
From the night before.
from the night before. And like he said, we used to go to a West 4th, or we used to go straight from the club to Basics to Brighton
Or the
Beach
fountain on
Basics.
Sundays
So we were like,
without showering. But
but we used to have our knapsacks.
Yeah, napkin,
full of
yeah, everything.
And my mother used to say, where you going with all that clothes? I'll be gone for a couple of days, you know?
Well, it's funny you say that because I wanted Tony here today because after I interviewed him, I brought something up to him and he goes, oh, Store, that's the crucial part that we need to say. And I'm going to say it now because hopefully I'm going to get him again, but I know with Tony's schedule it's hard, but I'm going to say it now and hopefully I'll get him and I'm going to say it again. This is what happened because when I started Loft Unlimited, right? Loft Unlimited started 1980, I want to say. We started Loft Unlimited. I wasn't a member of the Loft. I've always said that. And I always tell people I didn't represent the Loft. So they say, how could you represent Loft style dancing? And I say, because everyone that I learned everything from came from the Loft. These were dancers from the Loft and some from the garage. So when they taught me, or when they knew I was trying to learn from them, they were saying, yeah, brother, they told me that's Loft style dancing. So I understand probably 80% of the Loft heads, the Loft generations with memberships, where they say, you guys have no right, because that's ours, you were just a guest in our house, and you shouldn't put that out there. Some of them now are bending a little bit, Tony and them, they're understanding why. And I said to Tony, look, Tony, and not only did I never get a membership, I remember when me and Tony spoke, then I remember being turned off, because I remember coming down 8th Street in the car, pulling over, me and my boys at the time, Rocky, all these guys, let's go to the Loft. Then boom, we get out, they wouldn't let us in. So I would wait there and say, hold on, I know someone that's gonna walk in, they'll get us in. Some nights you got lucky, some nights you didn't. So it got to a point where I'm like, fuck this place then. I go to fucking Gotham's, I go to One's, I go to Bond's. And that's why I didn't become a member of the Loft. You know, because listen, my buddies Hiram, you know Hiram,
right?
Juan Valentin was my DJ when we were Loft Unlimited. Louis, Paul Cruz, they were all members of the Loft. I could have gotten a card, but I didn't just want to stay in one place, man, because you would always hear, yo, Gotham's, Bonds.
That was one of the biggest things about me.
Me too. I didn't want to stay stuck in one place.
You couldn't keep me in one place.
So this is why when they say, Store, how do you say that about the Loft? I say, look, I had Loft Unlimited. I know I was the first guy to bring that word Loft to the street because I was a street kid. So I learned it. I created Loft Unlimited, the crew, because to me, I thought that Loft style dancing was style because that's how it was represented and that's how it was given to me by my peers. You know,
and that's how you accepted it.
That's how I accepted it. So for them to say, oh, you can't represent it, you know, that's not right. I get it. No disrespect to none of you from the loft, because I get it. And I know that they say loft style cannot be taught, because the loft to them was a place where you went, whatever mood you were in that night, whatever fucking Dave played.
Right, you were free
what
to
you
be
released.
who you were, right?
So it's really, truly freestyling.
And
It's true, but you can't take away the fact that when they were doing backbreakers, dives, suicide dives, walkovers, slides, you know, I didn't wake up one day and do that shit. I learned that from the guys that went to the loft. I learned it from the guys that went to the garage. This is how it became a loft style dance. And until they get that, I understand that when certain songs hit me, I danced my way. I danced my way. But I incorporated the technical steps that I saw them doing. You know?
And I totally understand why you guided yourself all these years with that, because that was your realm. And the same thing for me. I would learn a technique and they would say, oh, she's a B-girl. No, it's because I like to do that technique. Or it goes with this technique. I was just one of those reaching out to the world. Really, and most of the people that know me can tell you, I was more of a loner opposed to having been in a group when it came to my dancing.
So you wasn't down with Loft Unlimited?
No, I wasn't down.
Why didn't you
with
put it
Loft.
down?
No, you were.
She
was an unofficial member.
Right, I was
You were
one
an
of those
unofficial
members
member.
that
she
will
would come in and come out.
Right, I would come in
And come out.
do what I gotta do, and then I'm out
And then she's
respectfully.
out.
I'm out.
So she was
I'm at
when,
the next.
When you were with us at Gotham's at Basics, they would say, and then we would say, yeah. But she wasn't with us doing shows, doing routines.
Yeah, because I was.
Nothing.
So you
She's
didn't
on her own.
perform? You didn't perform as a Loft
No.
dancer?
No. I was actually
Most people
a wanderer. I'm a wandering dancer. That's what I would call myself. I was never really in particularly. I mean, some other people have stories about me that I don't remember because I have.
Yeah, like the way we met.
No, and I had to call them and tell them, yo, when did we meet?
Sometimes I don't remember who I was at last night.
No, and you know what? I'm not gonna sit here and regret my non-memories because obviously they're not there for a reason. I look at it that way because of whatever. Like I said, each of us here can speak for.
Dude, that's how I got
So-
it. She called me a month ago and said, Store, you always remember things. Please tell me how the fuck we met
Because-
and how this happened and how this happened.
Yeah,
And
because
I had to tell her.
I literally like
Yeah.
bust my head because I got people coming up to me, it's like, girl, we couldn't get you off the dance
Honestly,
floor.
no, and I feel that because I forgot that I was in a movie with Store, and he's the one that told me, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's right. we were in that movie.
And you had a good part in it too.
Yo,
You had a good fucking
oh, I
part.
wouldn't have
So,
forgotten
yeah,
that though.
So, you know, listen, we do things in our past, we forget about, we move on, and we look forward, we don't look back. And then when people ask you to look back, you're like, shit,
But let me
when
ask
did
you-
I do that?
Yep.
And
Let
it
me
takes
ask
some
you
time for it to
something,
come back.
Curly. Besides me, because I've heard it from other people, I was not the only person that called you a loft killer, right?
No, you were the only one who called me a loft killer.
Was it?
Yes, you were the only one.
But other people
You
know you as a loft
always,
style
every
dancer.
time you saw me, I got like major respect. You always gave me that royal love, like, because really, I mean, we're from two different entities, like in a sense, like I'm from the Lower East Side, you're from Williamsburg, Brooklyn. But the bonding situation is what makes it more family orientated for me. Because, like I said, I was in the streets looking for other things, and the dancing was my world.
Yeah, but going forward, hold on, but going forward, I heard people say, who, Curly? Yeah, the girl that loft dancer. So they called you a loft dancer.
Yeah, because I got that respect. I mean,
So you're trying to say I started it? I started giving you that? Because I know people that
honestly,
I don't
yeah,
know.
no, I would have to say, yeah. I would. You always gave me that love,
Yeah, but I always knew you as a loft killer.
but I never really like considered myself that way. I really, to this day, I don't.
So what year you kind of like died out on your dancing?
2000. Well,
You never really
no.
died.
Well, I have to say I stopped in '89. Left the scene. My daughter was born in '92. Then came back into the scene. about 2000, and then I wind up with a tumor in my leg, so that put me on pause, and then it got removed, and then in 2000 and I say 2002, 3 is when I started to get back into the world of music, because I had paused.
So what'd you do how did you come back into the world of music?
It's crazy that you say that. I went to Coney Island. I was 220, probably 22 pounds. You probably would not believe that.
Hell no.
I got a picture. I didn't believe it was us.
I'm 220 pounds.
I was a size 22. I will never forget it.
Big. You got
I
big.
wind up inflating,
Yeah.
and it was because of the tumor. I wind up getting a lot of water fat. So when they removed the tumor, I wind up going to Coney Island. It was not even 6 months after my surgery. I bumped into, there was a party on the boardwalk, and I bumped into Chino 3.
Once again, Chino comes to your rescue.
And sure enough, he's dancing away, and that was it. Because I love Chino.
You started dancing again.
Once he started.
But you're a DJ.
Yeah, but how did you transition into becoming the DJ?
Well, okay.
Because I never knew you as a DJ.
Well,
Even when I bumped into you again after 15
lo and behold,
years.
for whatever reasons that I took myself out the scene and became back into the scene, I wound up meeting an individual who was, he had equipment in his room. And I've always admired the way Larry Levan, Tony Humphries, Louis Vega, all these, Kenny Carpenter. We can go down the line of all these DJs that gave me all this inspiration of dancing. And because I couldn't dance the way I wanted to, I started a hobby, which I'll never forget. My brother was like, "You really gonna go start a hobby that's gonna cost you?" I was like, hell with it. I have nothing else to do. I want to stay within the music industry, and because I was very well known in the music industry as a dancer. So I decided I wanted to be a DJ, and
Worked out.
it really did work out for me.
So as far, what's your history as a DJ?
I'm now 14 years playing music. I didn't expect myself to expand the way I did, but I put a lot of pride in my work as a DJ. That it's come a pretty good, I'm the entertainer. I like to entertain people, so I throw events. So for the last 13 years, I've been doing outdoor events at the East River Park. So with that being said, I was able to affiliate myself with some various DJs and meet various worldwide DJs.
You have your own equipment, you rent your equipment?
I got my own equipment.
We're gonna put a picture of her room. Her shit.
I built my
Looks like a mini fucking
double
disco.
15 speakers. I designed my console.
How many LPs you think you have?
I say about 8,000 right now.
8,000
About 8,000
12-inch
records.
records.
So
No.
I was really like trying to stay within the music. Now, mind you, I'm a dancer before DJ. I will always say it. However, I take pride into what I've
Well, isn't that your brand? You have a dancer. You're known as the, what is it?
Sounds of a dancer.
The Sounds of a Dancer.
Yeah, when they
Sounds
was
of
like,
a Dancer.
they was like, oh, what are you gonna call yourself? I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out. But because at the time,
That's
they was
brilliant,
like, oh, here comes
right?
Curly. Now she
Sounds
wants to
of
be
a
a
Dancer is
DJ.
brilliant.
What is she gonna call herself? So we used to have a party called me, Chino, and Son, and Soda. We used to have a party called Dat Party. So I used to give out flyers all the time.
When you say that, is
DAT.
What did that stand for?
No, just that. Just
Like that, this and that, this and that, this and that.
This and that.
Or
So
that party.
that party. So
That
you're going to
party.
that party.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where
yeah.
you got to go to
so
that
you gotta
party.
invite me
That
to that
party.
party.
You got to go to that party.
So that's how you became DJ
So
Dat
what
Gurl.
happened was I gave him this flyer. I kept giving Danny Crivet the flyer for that party. He said, I'm not gonna even call you Curly no more. I'm gonna call you Dat Gurl. So when I decided to become a DJ, that was the first thing I thought about. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call myself that girl, and that's been it. It's
stuck.
been
Do you
that
have
girl.
like any social media or something?
Oh yeah, I'm on
Yeah.
social media.
There's all of that. We'll post all of that stuff on.
I put a lot of work
Are
into
you on
how-
Facebook or?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram,
Everything.
Twitter.
I'm missing it. That's why I got it now.
You know,
now gotta
I don't
become a
put it.
fan.
You know,
Yeah, t-shirt.
yeah, I do.
You should-
I actually.
I have
That's
you.
it right there. Oh,
Well, this is one of
I
them.
should have wore your
I
t-shirt today.
love
I'm
it.
sorry.
See, this represents something special to me because I had a quadruple bypass.
Oh,
2 years ago.
That's why you got the heart.
So I kind of like reinvented.
Is that the one you gave
So
me?
I put RCA plugs and said I got reinvented inside. So music's in my heart. So this is one of my
I
newest.
love it. That is beautiful.
You know, so I do several things, and because I've been doing East River Park for so long, I now have another shirt, which is at the bottom here. And if you know what the amphitheater looks like, this is the
Wow,
amphitheater.
That's awesome.
And this represents the sounds of a dancer. There's like other stuff,
Yeah,
because
that's
I
pretty cool
also,
stuff, man.
I also create sweatshirts, I create.
So you got a website, or you got
I
don't know.
Right
if
now-
somebody wants to say, I want that girl to in my next
Your Facebook. Your Facebook. She
Oh,
does
I'm on
live
Facebook.
shows.
I do
She does
live
live shows
shows.
on Facebook. I'll put all of that up. I'm gonna.
Yeah,
I got all her information.
all my, I mean.
I got everything.
Yeah, it's DJ Dat Gurl
Now let me
Curly.
ask you something. Have you produced your own music? Have you like redone, remixed, or done
You know
stuff?
what? The way I mix, people think I produce. However, I don't know how many years I've been talking about this damn track that I've been working on.
Just like
But
a
I
DJ
haven't
Rock Solo.
officially
Yeah, that I
produced
got Rock
anything
Solo.
yet. But I'm in the works of producing a track right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm actually excited about doing it. But you know, just like
and you're gonna put it first on Style of Boogie, right?
yeah, maybe not. Who knows?
Maybe
Right
not.
now, I'm still trying to get the.
Don't encourage me too much,
I'm
please.
looking forward to it because it's going to be exciting when you hear when it's put together.
It's a house track.
It's actually it was written for me while I was with someone, and I refound it. It's a hip hop house track, so it has to do with hip hop and house in the beginning. And
So let me ask you something, because you know this is basically. I brought you on here, of course, as my personal friend, as DJ Dat Gurl, but as a loft killer, right? So, have you ever interpreted music and said, because there's also a category that people say, there's no category. Dave Mancuso had no category, which is true. He didn't. The guy was brilliant.
very universal.
in what- right, in what
He was
played.
very
But to
universal.
some of us, there's that era of music that comes from either him or Larry, and we say, yo, those loft hits. So every time the new generation that I teach or I talk with, they're like, yo, Storm, could you give us some loft music? And I'm like, look, I can't call them loft music. Because if you look at the genre, technically, it's not under a loft category.
right, it's either disco.
Disco, it's either a Euro, it's either, something
It
else.
has.
It has nothing to do with loft, but
No, I think what it does.
But is it fair to say that some of us have songs that we consider loft music to us?
Oh, well, of
because
course,
that's how we
because-
express ourselves.
To me, loft to me, because I only speak for myself, I cannot speak for anybody else, because I'm the one that's in that dance floor. But when I came to understand what loft meant to me was the luxuries of feeling free to any song that was played, whether it was instrumental, whether it was vocal, because I believe that in
Very
the
well
80s, the lyrics
Were
were
amazing.
very
Amazing.
important to me.
Yeah.
You know, now that's why I said hip hop, I drifted off, because I found that hip hop was becoming more of a subliminal message against
Right.
what you should be enjoying. So it was always these messages, you
Yeah,
know.
to me, once it went gangster,
Right,
it
it-
never came back.
Right, so I wasn't looking at hip hop the way I used to, because I started to, I don't know, maybe started the scratching of the record, and it just irritate me, because I was like, why are you messing up a record that I want to hear? Don't scratch it, don't. So it was just one of those, like, you took me off my dancing, so. But in the same token of loft, to express, yeah, each of us have a record that says, if you don't know that record, you don't know nothing. Like,
you weren't there.
You weren't there,
You
you
didn't feel it,
wasn't
you
standing
know?
in front of that speaker when that freaking beat came on. And so everybody has a experience that nobody can explain.
So
but
today
just
it's fair to say, Miss DJ Dat Gurl, the sounds of a dancer. What are you gonna do? What's going forward? What are we doing? I mean, you know.
Well, you know what? Right now I'm into producing.
Let's get
my
some
new
shit out there. Why don't you get together like with Rock Solo and all these new guys that are coming up and teach them the shit and do some stuff. He's got amazing shit too.
You know,
you guys need to get together and collaborate and start bringing this out so we can distribute it. You know what I'm saying? Let's do
I'm
something.
definitely looking to.
Because you're right.
I have this thing about vinyl, so I have this shirt that I've created about vinyl, which is something that's going to be more out. I won't talk about it as much. I mean, but I've done about 100 shirts, and I've sold about 80 of them to people who like vinyl. You know,
No, that's come back. It's
You know,
a big comeback.
yeah, so-
Vinyl came back huge last year.
So I have that shirt working around. Then I have other things that I make. I make bags.
I find that, I'm sorry, I want to back to, I find that vinyl has a different sound
Of course it
from
does,
the
bro.
digital.
Of course it
No,
does.
you're talking about
Bro, that
pure
needle,
sound.
that needle,
You ain't talking
bro.
about different sound. You're talking about pure.
Yeah, that's all pure. You hear every element.
anything.
Every element of the instrument is on that needle, bro.
You think about listening to the way.
Well, I'm saying it from a person that's not a DJ.
No, but it's true. I mean, but you see, you have critical listeners. You have listeners and you have critical listeners. You know, so you can tell the difference from a good quality record opposed to something that was digital. You just know it. I mean, I do. As a dancer to DJ, it's a different transition. Because on the dance floor, you're surrounded by the speakers, so you're listening for your legs and your arms to be in sync. But then as a DJ, it's a different, the way you're pushing it out. Now it's a different round.
And you have to, and the funny part is like you, being a fucking dancer first, I know what you must, or I think what you must think, because I know you're like this. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to put myself in your panties right now. I think that...
Are they pink?
Now, I think, because if I became a DJ again, I was a DJ at one point, but I would think that you would look and go, all right, I know what I'm doing. That's the next track you're gonna throw on.
Well, and you know what? And those are sometimes critical when you think that way. Because I thought that way. Like, I know like what you like that's gonna make you
Right, because you can't be selfish as a DJ.
You can't. I mean, I will be frustrated.
That's why I keep promoting Rock Solo.
I'm like, freak it.
Selflessness
I'm gonna find
DJ.
a hip hop record that's gonna make her dance, or because she's not liking something, or I'm an observer too. But the way I play, I wind up wondering if people really enjoying. People say they do, but I got more of the people that's like.
When you become a selfless DJ, that's gonna be your new name, Rock. Selfless DJ. When you want the people to enjoy, because listen, not every song you play, everyone's gonna like.
Right, and no, right.
However, if you're willing to be diverse and allow everybody to get that fucking inner spirit, inner feeling out of a song, brother, it doesn't matter if 20 different people that like 20 different genres come to you, you're gonna be that DJ for them.
It's how you mix it too, right?
Yeah, of course, how you put it together. How you put it together.
You're playing for.
Yeah.
Because people are particular.
But was I wrong when I said that? Have you ever done that? Have you ever looked and
I
gone,
always do.
I'm
I always do.
That's what
As
you
a
got to do.
dancer, I have to. As a dancer, I need to know that there's another person like him. He's sitting there, like, even if I see him going from this to,
you try to think of what's next.
I know that I'm triggering somebody.
That's right, so you get it next.
Body motion. Some people are just like this sometimes, and I feeling that person.
So let me ask you, Miss DJ Dat Gurl, how do you feel about the music today in comparison to our era?
You don't like me.
Thank you.
I am very, very disappointed.
So what do you play mostly?
Well, I'm more into playing. I mean, I don't want to.
Uh-oh.
They call, you know what? In the beginning, I played it.
They were troglodytes.
In the beginning, I played it safe. And when they say safe, it's because you knew that record. You knew that record.
Right, you want to impress everybody. You don't want to make anybody upset.
You know, however, I virtued out of that and said, okay, there's other records I can play with that record.
Well, that's what David
As they
did.
say, hip hop and disco don't go.
It goes.
There it goes.
It
It does go.
You just
It does
need to
go.
know when
How to
put
mix it.
and how-
We did that for Halloween, the timing.
The timing of the record.
Right.
Oh, that's Rock Solo in the back talking,
Rock Solo
guys.
over here
He's talking
interrupting.
shit in the back, bringing this
No,
out.
but it's true.
So we can distribute it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she's only been DJing for 14 years.
Yeah, it's only
She's been a
14
loft killer
years,
for
but
40 years. No, actually, sorry. 45 years, because you were about 10 when you started, 12 when you started.
12 when I started.
So yeah, so sorry, Miss Loft Killer.
My mom can tell you I used to invent how to open and lock my door with a strip. I swear to God, I had a tape going up when I used to come pull it up to open on the lock.
I'm out of here.
My mom wouldn't know until I got home. Like, what the? You know,
She was at the hookie parties. She was at the hookie parties. That I know.
Otherwise, I'm blessed. I have to say I'm blessed because I've been through ups.
Well, you are, and let me tell you something. As my friend,
So
bro, you've been a blessing in my life, especially as far as teaching me how strong woman could be. Because let me tell you, I come from an era where women had a place, gays had a place, and anything out of my motherfucking race had a place. So when I met you, when I met Pam, and all these people, you taught us how equally you guys were when it came to what we were doing. And I'm speaking about the 70s, 80s. And you were a baby, and you have no idea the influence that you guys gave to other people, especially now going forward, because as a woman that were not that were disrespected, none of us disrespected you because we knew how equal you were to us. So for that, I thank you.
well, thank you.
I thank you so much. And, you know,
Style of boogie.
we're going out together, mijita. We're going out together.
Well, I'm looking to maintain myself and be in this environment as long as I can possibly do it. And if I can continue to share my love through music, then that's so be it. So
DJ Dat Gurl. Thank you, my dear. Style of Boogie, where the true stories will always be told.
I'm dying for a hug.
oh man.
Thank you.